my plate. Homemade bread, I can't wait. I can't get enough. I will always stay in touch with my Bahamaland, yeah.
Rare Voice introduces Bahamaland, an unlimited nationwide calling plan for only $5 a month. So call home today and connect again with Bahamaland. Home never felt so close.
My Bahamaland, yeah.
The Customs and Immigration Union decries threats of salary cuts. The Attorney General blasts lawyers representing court stenographers, plus CARICOM heads agreed to a reparation plan. We've got those stories and a whole lot more tonight. I'm Vonnie Toot, and NB12 starts now. Topping news tonight, leaders of the Bahamas Customs, Immigration and Allied Workers Union have publicly denounced threats of salary cuts, which they claim came from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Immigration. The union reportedly advised its members to work from 9 to 5 following last week's court ruling on workers' wages and benefits. Union Vice President Sloan Smith said during a news conference today, workers will not be intimidated, warning they will take their issues to the Supreme Court if they have to.
Threats of cutting salaries, if in fact it is the case, well, what else are you going to do? Put us across your knees and spank us? We are not intimidated by that. The union has resources and we will do what we have to do. Respectfully, you do what you have to do, we do what we have to do.
Flanked by executive members of the Bahamas Customs, Immigration and Allied Workers Union, Smith told reporters he understands workers have been threatened with salary cuts. However, Immigration Director William Pratt told us it has nothing to do with intimidation, adding he simply sent out a circular today advising workers to continue to report for their regular shifts until further notice. Failing that, Pratt says they could face disciplinary action according to the rules of the public service. However, Smith insists his members are following the law.
The government is the government. They are governed by laws just as we are governed by laws. And we expect you to do the right thing. We expect you to follow the law. So threats and those type of things, if in fact it is so, coming from that office, we decry those. And we will not be intimidated to break the law.
Pratt says he received last week's court ruling on union members' wages and benefits on Monday, but is awaiting a legal opinion from the Attorney General's office. Growing tensions between the government and Customs and Immigration Union have prompted members to take a strike vote on Friday. Smith says he was disappointed by comments made by Labor Minister Shane Gibson, who said their demands cannot be met at this time.
It is quite disappointing. How could you discredit or seek to dismiss the thousands of public servants, specifically those in Customs and Immigration Department? What is the minister trying to say about the workers who are the supervisors to an extent of over $500 million worth of revenue? What is the minister saying?
The union wants medical coverage for roughly 300 clerical workers and other benefits, including moving allowances for officers who are transferred to other jurisdictions. Smith says they'll take this matter to the Supreme Court if they have to.
As it relates to the clerical personnel, clearly the minister has made a decision, but there's this thing called a Supreme Court that we can all go to and seek to get redress. And if we don't get solutions there, then there are other mechanisms that we can pursue.
As members of the local Criminal Bar Association move ahead with legal action against the AG's office, Attorney General Allison Maynard Gibson says she is confident the decision to remove stenographers from the magistrate's court was in the best interest of the justice system. Jasmine Bonamy reports.
The Attorney General responding to the criticisms recently launched by several lawyers over the past few weeks, insisting that the only people she has to answer to are the many victims of crime. The announcement of the impending lawsuit comes a month after officials from the Bahamas Bar Association and Criminal Bar Committee held a joint press conference to speak out against the stenographer's removal. As a result of their removal, magistrates now have to take handwritten notes until digital recording comes on stream later this year. Today, Maynard Gibson declined to comment on any possible lawsuit, but she did insist removing the stenographers was the right move in order to make the justice system more efficient.
We are expending all of our energies fixing a system that has been broken. We are determined on behalf of the Bahamian people that the system should be fixed. My team and I are determined to do everything that is within our power to ensure that justice is seen to be done in the Bahamas, and the system that is broken, the result of inordinate delays, adjournments, etc., that are impacting both accused and victims, is fixed.
Issues concerning stenography services have been brewing for months. In October last year, more than 20 court reporters staged sickouts. At the time, the Attorney General said their absence had little impact on the justice system. Many stenographers refused to work over various issues, including payment issues and the lack of a career path. While the reporters have been removed at magistrates' courts, they remain a fixture in the Supreme Court. In a report, the interim manager of the court reporting unit, Jennifer Leach, recommended that the reduction of service provided to magistrates and certain civil trials to significantly impact the availability of reporters to both reduce the backlog and maintain a satisfactory level of service in the criminal courts and the Court of Appeal. Still, Maynard Gibson says the removal is ultimately up to judicial authorities.
The matter of the placement of stenographers in the magistrates' court is for the Chief Justice and the Chief Magistrate. However they exercise their discretion, I as Attorney General have complete confidence in it. I'm sure that Bahamian people are looking forward to that. And I have not heard any backlash from the victims of crime who wish to have their matters heard expeditiously. That's who I'm working for.
Meantime, the members of the Criminal Bar Committee say they fully intend to take the issue to the Supreme Court. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Bonamy.
The Bahamas will join 14 other Caribbean countries in seeking reparations for slavery from former colonizers, including Britain, France, the Netherlands, and Spain. CARICOM heads of government agreed to a 10-point plan that would seek a formal apology, some form of debt cancellation, and reparation payments from those nations. The decision came during 2 days of meetings in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Immigration Fred Mitchell, who attended the meetings along with Prime Minister Perry Christie and other ministers, reportedly told CARICOM a reparations commission has been appointed. Former members of Parliament Alfred Sayers and Philip Smith head that commission. Mitchell said in a statement they are joined by a number of other citizens from across the community. He says the full list will be announced upon government officials' return tomorrow. The local commission will advise the government on the necessity and/or efficacy of any legal, political, legislative, or administrative decisions that need to be taken. A top gay rights advocate is speaking out against what she called offensive and dangerous public debate between a respected religious leader and government minister over lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender rights. Bahamas Faith Ministries International President Dr. Miles Monroe resumed his call for Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell's removal from his cabinet post over his stance on gay rights. Meantime, Mitchell insisted on Sunday he would continue to stand for the rights of all people, despite what he termed the character assassination launched against him. Human rights advocate Aaron Green defended Mitchell today.
I think that the debate is dangerous. I think it's always dangerous when we use categories of individuals like weapons, as if there is some shame behind being a homosexual. It turns out that Fred in Trinidad did espouse the government's position. It also turns out that his professional activist position is the same as the government's position, right? And in the whole discussion, his personal position never came in. He spoke as a professional activist and a representative of the government. So I think that it's sad that such a dangerous discourse has started.
Green, who was a guest on Guardian Radio talk show Morning Blend with Dwight Strawn, also took issue with Bahamas Christian Council President Reverend Ranford Patterson's assertion that the Bahamas is not ready for openly gay politicians.
It would be fine for Reverend Patterson to say that he is not ready for a gay politician, or that the members of the Christian Council are not ready for a gay politician, but I think it would be untrue to state that the Bahamas isn't ready. It turns out that we may or may not have elected a number of gay politicians already. Not sitting in the House at the moment, sitting in the House at the moment. But see, that's the thing about sexuality. Unless you are actually engaged in an intimate relationship with somebody, you do not know what their sexuality is. And sexuality itself should not be an issue for debate in terms of political candidates.
Green noted that while some Bahamians may not agree with homosexuality, she feels the vast majority of Bahamians feel homosexuals should be able to live and exist freely without fear of violence. She says she believes they would also support a candidate who is open and honest about who they are as a person.
But I think a lot of Bahamians understand how difficult it is to be a visible gay person in this country and would not be upset that a candidate who is gay has never announced their orientation. I think that the idea that Bahamians are not aligned with the government's position in terms of LGBT rights is ridiculous. The average Bahamian believes that nobody should be subjected to any type of violence because of who they are.
Green is now calling for anti-hate speech legislation, which not only focuses on the LGBT community, but all vulnerable groups. She says this country's greatest obligation is to protect the rights and ensure the safety of those groups. The issue of repeat offenders being granted bail is still of concern for the Royal Bahamas Police Force. That's according to Police Commissioner Ellison Greenslade. He said the force is doing good work but continues to face the challenge of accused criminals getting bail and being arrested on different charges after their release.
There are things that are happening in the Bahamas on a daily basis. People that are committing offenses who are continuing to reoffend against our citizens. Every person in this country of adult age, I believe, has a fair understanding of what those challenges are. The commissioner cannot solve some of those problems.
He gave an example of a person who was charged with murder, released on bail, commits another murder, and is charged again.
We again arrest that person, takes that person before a court of law. And I'm telling you, members of the press, that plays out on a daily basis. Where are those people? Still on bail. I'm not going to go any further than that, except to say I'm having to answer for you the same questions over and repeatedly.
When asked if he felt the Christie administration had done enough to stem this problem, Greenslade would not answer. Court of Appeal President Anita Allen addressed the bail issue in January. She noted that people accused of crimes are entitled to bail under certain circumstances, including the length of time they have been on remand on the strength of the evidence. However, she said the judiciary must also be more accountable to the public. When NB12 returns, the latest on that landfill fire, plus Bishop Simeon Hall urges the Christian Council to end its web shop fight with government. So stay with us.